Hi everyone, this is a review of the Railway Series book Thomas the Tank Engine, The Complete Collection by the Reverend W. Awdry. This massive book that you see right in front of you has all 26 Railway Series books written by the Reverend W. Awdry. However, not every single Railway Series book, just the ones that were written by the original creator, the Reverend W. Awdry. The rest were written by his son Christopher from the 27th to 52nd books. No, sorry, 42nd books. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, anyway, these are the first to 26 books. And so that's the front. And that's the back. I will be reading the stories of these and putting them on YouTube, but for this review I'm not going to bother doing that. I'm just going to read the foreword, and so yeah. This is a really old book. As you can see, it is kind of, as well should we say, it's beaten up. Well, I've had this since I was a kid actually, and here it is. Yeah, you see these numbers right there? I kind of wanted to do that when I was a kid. That's something I wanted to do. So yeah, anyway, that's the contents with all 26 books written down. And I'm going to read the foreword. It says, "Dear friends, in my introduction to Thomas the Tank Engine, The Complete Collection, I have been asked to tell you about how Thomas books came to be written. This is how it happened. When I was 3 or 4 years old, my father used to take me for walks around his parish in Hampshire. Our favourite was the one to Baddesley Bridge, where he would scramble up the embankment and walk along the line. No one ever turned us away. The plate layers all knew my father and were happy to talk to him about their work, in which they took a great pride. As far as I can remember, there was no question I ever asked my father about railways which he either could not answer or did not know where to find the answer. He retired in 1916. We left Hampshire and settled at Box in Wiltshire. Our house was near the Great Western Main Line, which here climbs for 2 miles at 1 in 100. A tank engine was kept at Box Station, part of whose duties was to help goods trains up the incline. Lying in bed at night, I would hear both engines snorting up the grade and imagine their puffings and pantings, the conversation they were having with each other. I have no doubt at all that steam engines had personalities. Many years later, in 1943, when I was curate at King's Norton, Birmingham, my 3-year-old son caught measles and had to be amused. I told him stories about engines which had to be made up on the spur of that moment, and drew on my childhood memories to do it. Edward's Day Out, The Sad Story of Henry, and Edward and Gordon were told over and over again. The wordage became fixed, and my son allowed no deviation. I wrote the stories down in pencil on scraps of paper for family use. I had no thought of getting them published. Mrs. Awdry thought otherwise. She kept telling me to do something about it, but could not say what. She told my mother about them. My mother had an idea. She wrote back saying that she was expecting a visit from a distant cousin whom she thought was connected with a firm of literary agents. Literary agents. He was coming in a day or two to send the stories at once. With no time to write a fair copy, I sent the penciled scraps of paper. Our cousin must have had imagination to see a future in those scraps. He hawked them around for several months before we found a publisher who had imagination too. This was Mr. Edmund Ward of Leicester, who said that he would accept the 3 stories on condition that I wrote a 4th getting Henry out of his tunnel and providing a happy ending. The book came out in 1945 and sold well. Thomas the Tank Engine came next. I was asked to write another and another. There are now 26 books in the series. Granted the fiction of that steam engines have personality and can express it, everything else in these stories must be authentic. Each story is based on some odd incident which has happened to some engine, somewhere, sometime. Most are things which readers have written to tell me about, or which I have read in railway books and magazines. In my study at home, I have a thick heavy file which I prize highly. It is full of letters. They are from children, mothers, fathers, grandfathers, grandmothers, aunts and uncles who have written to me over the years to say how much they and their children enjoy the books. I prize these highly, of course, but there are some I value even more. They are letters from fathers and grandfathers who are or have been professional railwaymen, saying that they too like the books. To quote one of them, "Your background knowledge of railways is so good that yours are the only books about railways which I can read to my children without squirming inside." I myself know of many odd incidents which have happened just as you describe them in your stories. That is praise indeed. I am happy to commend Thomas's omnibus edition to you and hope you will enjoy it, the author. So this is it for the foreword, and yeah, this is it for the review, and hope you enjoyed the review, and I'll see you next time.